Today I'm going to be watching this video. It's called My 14 Healthy Habits from Living in Sweden, How They're Beating Obesity. Now that is something I know that Sweden definitely has a very healthy lifestyle. It's one of the least obese countries in Europe, in the world. And being from the UK, I think we're probably one of the highest in Europe. People eat a lot of processed food, don't have the healthiest lifestyle, drink a lot of alcohol. So I want to see how lifestyle is in Sweden. Is it fair to say that people are just not really obese in Sweden? Is that a fair reflection of Sweden? And I want to know what healthy habits Swedish people have or people have living in Sweden. Tell me if you follow these, if there's any you agree with or disagree with. Let's watch.
1 year ago, I was up late, sitting on my couch, binging some random documentary on YouTube.
Like you are right now, Becky.
They were showing the rise of obesity around the world, and something caught my curiosity.
Yeah, UK, 27.8% of Brits are obese. Definitely UK is one of the most obese, and like living there previously, I can see why.
As every country went from yellow to orange to a deep red on the map, indicating a higher percent of its population becoming obese, one country remained yellow: Sweden. As someone who lives half their life in North America and half in Sweden, this definitely caught my eye. Sweden is the country of candy and cinnamon buns, but also the country famous for their tall, beautiful, athletic, blonde citizens. How is Sweden seeming to deflect the fast food marketing influence sedentary lives we've all given to these days? I'm not an obesity researcher, so I can't directly link factors to obesity. I did notice last summer, though, as many North Americans went to Europe for the summer, all over my TikTok, individuals were talking about how they were eating dairy and pasta and breads and not gaining any weight. Having lived between Canada and Sweden the last 4 years, I have noticed 14 unique things that I think help combat some of the marketing tactics used on us in North America, allowing Swedes to maintain more of a healthy lifestyle. Number 1, the grocery store. Classic American grocery store. You walk in, what's the first thing waiting for you? Hot dogs, eggnog, the seasonal novelty things. And yes, there's vegetables on the side that you see and it looks pretty, but you don't go there, you go straight down the aisle, packaged goods. Classic Swedish grocery stores. You walk in and you're forced to follow a pattern of sorts. And what's the first thing it forces you to go through? Fresh fruit and vegetables. Next,
that's true.
Bread. A little trick they do in North American marketing is they put all the cheap stuff right at eye level. They know you'll grab, and it's usually a higher margins for the company. And that usually means not as high quality of food. So the second thing you're going into is the bread. What's at eye level? It's the whole grain. High fiber, high protein. Now, the white, almost air-like Dempster bread we all know and love. It's delicious. It does not fill your stomach. I could eat 8 Nutella Dempster sandwiches and it not even make a dent. So of course you're going to overeat it. And where are they in Sweden? Buried at the bottom. Yes, they're there, but you got to search for them. It's not the first thing they want you grabbing.
Is that true? So would you say you eat more seeded bread, whole grain bread than white bread? For me, I try to eat healthier bread as well. I love bread. I can eat a lot of bread as well. I think seeded bread and things like that just taste better as well. Sometimes white bread can be very processed tasting, but is it true that this is always the case that the white bread is put on the bottom?
Number 2, lunch culture. Okay, we love lunch in North America too, but has anyone ever noticed you don't feel as satisfied after? Like, I could definitely go for a Mars bar right after I slam my Chipotle burrito as I run back to the office or beside my computer as I work through lunch. Now, Swedes, they take their time to enjoy it. There's a true pause in the middle of the day. Everyone leaves the office and actually sits down and has their lunch. They have a lot of these halls in Sweden, I've noticed, and it's like this bougie adult cafeteria full of high quality lunch bowls and poke and pastas, but everything is good quality and affordable. People are mingling and actually having a true break, not slamming a venti as they run from one meeting to the next. And I have noticed in Sweden, when I take the time to actually have a break for lunch and slowly eat and enjoy conversation, yes, I leave satisfied, and that Mars bar isn't quite as appealing.
Tell me if there's any sort of like chain of these sort of places that sell this healthy food that's more common than others, or that you like to go to as well. I mean, already you can see, obviously if she's from North America, she said Canada, but if we're comparing to maybe like the US or the UK, this food is a lot more expensive. People do really gravitate towards the more processed fast food, again, because they don't want to take that break. They want something that's quick to buy, quick to eat, and then just get back to the office or whatever. This looks so good, and this is like, lunch is such an important part of the day, also for your productivity at work as well. If you're eating something like this, you're just going to work better and smarter. Tell me if this is like a normal lunch for you.
Number 3, sports, not diet products. Now, Swedes do have diet products, but it's substantially different than in US. When I go to US or in Canada, we have those whole diet food aisles, and they're sad.
Silly me, I got the diet shampoo.
It's Weight Watchers, it's Atkins, it's low calorie, no sugar, no fat, no fun. There's nothing I hate more in the marketing world than the Oreo Thins, the 100-calorie packs that you have. They're supposed to satisfy your craving. It doesn't. You eat 5 bags of them, and we're never satisfied. Now, they have a couple of those products in Sweden, but I see the replacement of what I would call sport. There's a lot of things that encourage a healthy lifestyle, activity, something you'd have in the middle of a sports game. Things that can keep you going throughout your activity, not just try and eat as low calorie as possible.
It appears Team Sweden will clinch the gold.
Point 4, cost of food. I was always told Scandinavia is expensive. And yes, the prices of taxes and gas are extreme, but the cost of basic nutrient-dense food are mind-blowingly cheaper than Canada. Example, I recently bought a crate of blueberries here, which costs about $4 Canadian. Now, that is like freaking $7 in Vancouver.
Yeah, that's definitely what I've noticed, especially in the UK. All the fresh fruit and vegetable, the good quality stuff is always so expensive. That's why a lot of people, again, they go towards ready meals. They think about the cost of ready meals, and processed food is usually cheaper. It's also quick to consume as well, rather than having to like put things together with vegetables and cook fresh food, which is a shame. It's good to see that Sweden are clever and make these things affordable so people can benefit health-wise, which in the long term is just better for people in general and the country.
Number 5, liquor store hours. Introducing you to Systembolaget. I'm learning Swedish. I'm on a 53-day Duolingo streak. I could say approximately 4 words. Systembolaget, the government-owned liquor store and only place that you can buy liquor in Sweden. Similar to the LCBO in Ontario, Canada's kind of weird. We have some provinces that have government-owned liquor stores and other are private, like our Wild Wild West, Alberta. Love you. You're wild. Texas, Canada. Because it's similar to LCBO in Ontario, is government owned, it has strict hours. Every liquor store in Sweden is only open between 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. on Saturday, and not open on Sundays. Which doesn't seem like much. It's just the less hours open, and also not having available in grocery stores, you're less likely to just grab a 6-pack or a bottle of wine just for fun. You have to kind of go to your way and plan it to go pick it up.
That could definitely be used in Scotland, man. People in Scotland just abuse alcohol.
My favorite Swedish tradition, which I adapted way too fast, Swedish candy. A campaign started by dentists a couple of decades ago encouraged Swedes to only have their kids eat candy on Saturday to improve their dental health, and it drastically helped. And as these kids grew up, it became more of a way of life. It's a tradition to eat candy on Saturday. The analogy I would give is like eggnog. Eggnog is great. Who wants eggnog in July? Ugh. The magic is having it on Christmas. And that's kind of how candy is to Swedes on Saturday. And oh my God, their candy stores, you just go in, you get a big bucket, and you fill it however you want, and you just weigh it on a scale. And their candy is superb. They only have it on Saturdays, so there's less of the just kind of mindlessly have Snicker bars at lunch. It's more of like, ooh, we're gonna have candy on Saturday. And I think that just naturally limits the amount of sugar consumed throughout the week. I realize a lot of people will consider that restrictive. I get that because the nutrition, wellness, fitness industry over in North America, there's a lot of balance and being able to have something every day, not being restrictive, because if you restrict yourself with something, you'll overeat when you get it. And I do believe in that, but I think that comes down to a personality, and some people do okay with limiting their consumption throughout the week, and some people that can cause a binge restrict cycle. So it really depends on you. But just what I've noticed in Swedes, it's less of a restrict yourself all week and more of a something to look forward to on the weekend. Like we look forward to eggnog in December. You're not thinking in July.
Oh, if only I could have eggnog right now.
Oh, maybe if you're one of those people.
This is actually something I've implemented with my son since I seen it on one of the first videos I reacted to. And my son's 4 years old, and he would maybe have some candy one day here, a couple days later and things like that, but he'll eat generally a decent amount of candy, but now we've just implemented to only have it on Saturday. Similar to this, we go to the shop, we buy some for him, it's like a special occasion, and yeah, it's all about not just restraint, I think it's just teaching responsibility, it's having something to look forward to, it's not eating every day, which is bad, obviously, dent for your teeth, so it's a lot of benefits. I really like this one as well.
Number 7, the lack of regular pop. Here's a classic Swedish grocery store drink section. There's 3 sections. One with pop, which only about 1/3 has full sugar. Half is sparkling water, and the other half is what I would label sports drinks. Also, it's just like 10 times more likely to see a sweet. There's a lot of diversity in Europe, and so I'm very stereotyping, but just my only observation, it's more likely to see someone drinking sparkling water than regular pop.
Is that true for you?
Before I go on with this list, I do want to address obesity is complicated. It's not as simple as like,
Just eat candy on Saturdays, Kelty. Oh, you solved the epidemic. Wow, it was that simple.
no, I get it. There's social economical problems. There's some people who are raised who just can't afford food, and in lower income families, it is a lot harder for them to afford nutrient dense food. So pretty much for every calorie a lower income family has, there's less nutrients for a calorie of someone who can afford higher quality foods, things that are more nutrient dense, whole, unprocessed food. So it's a lot more likely someone who has money can spend it on fruits and vegetables, organic grass-fed meats, versus someone who's lower income has to have a bit more packaged canned goods, which are tended to be higher in calories, lower in nutrients. 2, hormones, which is a mixture of genetics and nurture. If your hormones are out of whack, it is so hard to just like eat to being satisfied. It's a very complicated subject, but hormones have a great impact, and that can be brought on by your genetics or just how you're raised. 3, how large US is. One of the blessings of Europe is it's small. You can walk or ride your bike everywhere. In US and Canada too, you pretty much have to drive, and you drive to your desk job, and so you're just not naturally as active, and it's just how you're forced to be. It's not really out of your own choice.
I think the thing from what I know about the US as well, is in their food there is a lot of additives. Like food safety requirements are just not as high seemingly in the US as well, so they just pack a lot of rubbish into foods like bread and things like that as well. Whereas in Europe, like there seems to be a lot higher standards for what can be classed as food, I think.
Number 8, Swedes. Of course I had to include this for you. Fika. The biggest Swedish tradition, fika, the act of stopping in the middle of the day to enjoy a coffee and sweet treat with a friend. Us North Americans love a coffee and a sweet treat, but it's different how we consume it versus them. We're running around 100 miles per hour, just trying to get a dopamine hit in this rat race. Amongst traffic, we have no energy and we've overslept, and we just need some kind of hit to keep us from crashing in. And guess what happens? You barely even notice it. You forgot you had that donut. It was just a quick, just transactional dopamine hit. It wasn't a moment to enjoy it, and that's what fika is. It's stopping in the middle of the day, having the coffee, a chat with a friend, and enjoying the cake. And it's that act of enjoying it that you actually process. You had
It's
this
like
nice
being
sweet
more
treat, and it's not
responsible.
villainizing either. It's just, I think we just have a tendency in North America to shove things down, and we simply forget, because we got a lot of just which also comes into play. There's just a sense of calm in Scandinavia, especially Sweden, which I've spent the most time in, and the only word I have for it is serotonin. I feel more creative. I feel less survival. I feel less of the rat race. They still work really hard, and I'm not taking that away. It's not like everyone's just sitting here having coffee and not working. There's just this sense of peace and enjoying the moment. Number 9, did they start them young? All these things are taught from when they're young. Not just the parents, but the whole community. It's not just how you eat, but the joy of an active lifestyle. In Malmo, they have this race that all the kids in the community come. Every age just goes a race around the park. This did not look like your average gym recess workout. No, this felt like Coachella for 6-year-olds. There was music playing, there was DJs, there was bouncy castles, there was milk being given out, and it was pandemonium in the best way. I was like, oh, these kids associate like fitness like a music festival. We associate it with like being yelled at by our gym teacher. And it's just that like love of activity starts at a young age. Number 10.
Yeah, that's like such a healthy way to teach children, is like to just let them enjoy things. So making it not seem like exercise, not seem like a chore to do, fun physical activity. I really like that. What was that event? Is that like a common event that's held? It looks great. Like I have, as I said, I've got a son who's 4. We try and keep him as active as we can. We play football. Just recently did like rock climbing for him as well. So it's like always trying to do fun things that he enjoys. And also trying to encourage healthy eating at that age as well. Like these things, it's really important for parents. It's such a huge responsibility to like teach your children well and have these healthy attitudes from young, which it seems like Sweden has as well.
10. Walking and biking everywhere. They love to walk and bike everywhere. And not just that they love, it's accessible. It's smaller countries, you can bike to work, you can walk to work. There's beautiful bike paths, you're among nature. Yeah, could we bike places in Canada? Yes, but how many times have I almost been hit by a car in Toronto? 5. I've almost hit 5 times in Toronto. And also when I lived in Edmonton, there's no grocery stores or restaurants or anything for a good 10 kilometers. You gotta drive. Sweet, step outside your door, boom, bike path.
Tell me where you enjoy cycling in Sweden.
Number 11, portion sizes. I love to dabble in a venti. I'm usually a grande kind of girl, but you know what? I will get a venti. Not in Sweden. I feel I would just be looked at like gluttonous.
This girl thinks she needs a venti triple espresso? Where are you going?
What you doing?
Calm down.
No one bats an eye at a venti in North America. It's just more practical. You get more. I was recently at the gas station and I went and noticed they don't even have venti. Things don't go above grande. Yes, you can find it. The only analogy I'd have is, you know when you go to Vegas and you have those crazy big drinks, like the 2-foot long ones? I feel like drinking a venti on your way to work is like drinking one of those in downtown LA on your way to work. Number 12, the checkout aisle. Now, how many times have you been there? You're checking out your food. You made a grocery list. You wrote it out. You followed it word by word. And you're so proud of yourself. You're so proud of yourself that you see that 99-cent Reese's cup in the checkout aisle. And like, you know what? It's only 99 cents. Throw it in. Of course. I fall victim to it every time. Every time. But not in Sweden. What is in Sweden? Minting gum. So as we are trying to battle the temptation of a 99-cent Reese cup every single time we go to checkout, they just have choices of gum. At the beginning of this video, I talked about obesity, gaining weight.
Just to say about that one is, you really can see the difference between Sweden and the USA with regards to consumerism or capitalism and how these companies are just trying to, they're not there for the benefit of the people, they're just there to try and make money, try and make people make the wrong decisions when they're talking about the placement of the bread and this, the exit here when you're paying for things. I love, like, Sweden doesn't feel like they need to exploit people. They just want to give them the best choice and do the right thing for them as well.
Checkout, they just have choices of gum. At the beginning of this video, I've talked about obesity, gaining weight. I just also want to pop in here and say gaining weight isn't evil. It doesn't make you bad, it doesn't make you unhealthy. Some people need to gain weight to be healthy. And the reality is some need to lose weight. And sometimes weight isn't the problem. It's a symptom of other underhealth-lining things. I don't want to also add to the narrative that fat, gaining weight equals bad. My weight fluctuates throughout the year. Everyone's fluctuates through the year. Everyone in Sweden fluctuates throughout the year. That is completely normal. And that's not what this video is. You'll probably notice this video wasn't like, this is how they eat less calories and this is how they lose weight. It's not that. It's the difference I find in North America and Sweden is just this lifestyle. And it's beginning to spread a bit more into Europe. So Sweden is definitely not perfect and Europe is definitely not perfect. That was what stemmed the first documentary I saw, is that, you know, the crisis we're having in the US is spreading. But I just noticed such a lifestyle difference in Sweden and this appreciation of food and this guilt as much. And this appreciation for moving your body and enjoying it. And naturally this joy of movement and food allows a bit more generally healthier lifestyle. But it is a very complex subject. And if you're listening and you really struggle with weight and body acceptance, I just want to say I hear you. You are not bad. You're going through something. I'm on this journey with you and I don't want you to feel alienated. This video I just found is just kind of eye-opening that I learned when I went to Sweden. It's just like such an appreciation for, lack of better terms, healthy living. Weight is a complicated subject. I've just mentioned a few times on this channel. I want us to get to the point where hearing weight is not so heavy. I would love it if someone's weight is like hearing someone's blood pressure, hearing someone's heart rate. It's not so heavy. You can talk about it and it not be this burden that you're good or bad or you're failing or you're not. It's just a number and there's so many more things. We have to look at our health as a whole of all the different factors, and it's just 1/100th on there, and I think that's why it is weighted, no pun intended, so heavily is because for so many years we just had our weight to go off. We didn't have anything else we could look at daily. But now we have Apple Watches. We have more knowledge. We can look at other factors, whether it be our sleep, our heart rate, our blood pressure, our glucose. There's so many other things we can look at aside from just our weight to indicate how our health is. Take this all with a grain of salt when I talked about weight and obesity at the end. It's more about like, how can we just enjoy healthy living? Our second last point, all ages playing sports. Now, Swedes are token introverts. They hate small talk. How are you supposed to be friends? Simple. Sports. There's nothing more a Swede loves that you can do something with someone without actually having to talk to them. And no better way than a paddle match. They love their sports and activities, and simply how it starts young, it maintains into old age. And it's such a way of them socializing, and I just think it just becomes a part of them. And every age does sports. It's not like the classic North American. If you can make it to grade 6 and stay in organized sports, you're winning. If you make it to grade 9, you are an athlete. Grade 12, hello, practically pro. You make it to university, you're still playing sports, you're like practically a celebrity at that point. And then, yeah, no one maintains after that. You just get a gym membership. No, in Sweden, it's just a way of life of all ages, keeping up with sports, which is the funnest way to stay active. Don't compare a soccer game to just a 3x12 bicep curl. Who's having more fun and wants to show up every Tuesday to do it? Which leads me to my last point,
That's a good point.
identity. It is cheesy, but if I've learned anything, if you want to make a sustainable lifestyle choice, the easiest way is just to make it a part of your identity. Once it becomes a part of your identity, you would never change that. It's who makes you who you are, and that's something about Swedes. They identify as healthy, minimalist, and it's a core belief to kind of fit into a standard. It comes down to this identity of part of being a Swede is living this healthy life. Once it's part of an identity, it's a part of your friend's identity, and once your friends are doing it, it's a lot more likely you're going to stick with it too. Not just at a citizen level, but even up to the government and how the governments view their citizens. And that's just the overall difference I've noticed between Sweden and North America, my time living here. Now, this is a very complex topic. There's so many economical, political, race things we could go into. But for me, I just thought, you know what, these are a few little things that I've just noticed where marketing is more heavily influenced in USA and just this identity here in Sweden, that I just find it so much easier to just live a healthy, balanced life, that you're active and eat nutrient-dense food, but enjoy your little cake and coffee every single day. It's just very admirable. I love Canada, and I love the hustle and the bustle and the craziness that it is. But then I do come to Sweden, and sometimes I'm like, ooh, is this living? Comment down below if you're Swedish or from Scandinavia, if you resonate with any of these things.
Tell me if you agree with that as well. I definitely, from my preconceived ideas about Sweden, I feel like that fits what I've learned about Sweden, that it's generally a healthy lifestyle, especially when you compare to places like North America, UK. To get a better insight, this is really good, and see the exact reasons why. And I mean, it's a lot. That's 14 different habits that are definitely, a lot of these are different to even back in the UK for me. And you can see why it would lead to better health in Sweden. And even if you compare to US, like she's talking about all these things where I feel like corporations have too much power, where they want people to be unhealthy and eat unhealthy things because they can make more money. The pharmaceutical companies can make more money because there's a lot of unhealthy people they can sell their medicine and drugs to as well. So it's quite unfortunate for people in the US that have to go through that, especially in comparison to countries like Sweden and other European countries. But tell me if you agree with this. Tell me if you notice growing obesity problems in Sweden, or tell me if there's any of these habits that you do or don't do. Thanks.